Well, hello and welcome to the Father and Son live show called Done
Run
by
by some.
Hello, Patrick. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Had a good weekend. So, how about yourself?
Oh, I'm always doing great. Fathers and sons having real conversations that matter to make an impact in the world is what we're all about. Real conversations done by some. My son and I will be having impactful and engaging conversations with other fathers and sons. We're currently looking for fathers and sons to be guests on our show. So if you want to be a guest on the show, please either respond here or send me an email or a text message. And at the right time, we'll be reaching out to invite you to be a guest on the show, you and your son to be a guest on the show. If you know a father and a son we should interview, tag them, share this with them, let them know, and then have them reach out so that we can invite them to be a guest on the show. So, again, welcome to my son, Patrick. Today, we're going to be talking about 5 things dads do that push their sons away. Now, it's important that you understand that 5 things that we're going to that push um, sons away, and we don't want to do that, right, son?
Well, I hope not.
So we're going to dive right into the conversation, and then we're done. We're going to go ahead and end and give you back your weekend. It's always a great day when it's Saturday, 9 a.m. Central, or every other Saturday when we are on the show. So let's get started. Number 1, expect the son to be better. Fathers expect their son to be better. See, we all want our sons to do better in life than we did. Sometimes I think we forget that we had to learn some life lessons through pain and through trial. Lord knows I know that. We can start to expect our sons to know the lessons already when it took us years to learn it, right? Those expectations are, one, unfair, and they put too much pressure on him that will cause him to retreat, to hide, to fall back. See, as moms, as my mom has said, they just got here. You understand what I'm saying? They just got here, right? That means that we can't expect them to be born and all of a sudden now they know all the life lessons that it took me 35 years to get, or 45 years to get, or 55 years to get, right? See, our sons haven't been on earth long enough because they have our DNA. They are prone to the same mistakes and growing pains as we did. We have to be patient with them. I just want you to know your sons feel that pressure.
Yeah, I think one thing that's good is that I was always put in a position to better myself in whatever I wanted to do and whatever I like to do. So I feel like when I was asked what I wanted to do, then that's what y'all kind of pushed me into that direction. That helps. That helps a lot because you're following what I want to do and not kind of what you had a vision of me doing. So I thought that was a good thing, and it helped me go into that direction. So I also know one thing that did make me feel pressured, and I don't know if I told you this, but I wasn't going to play my senior year of college football, and the only reason why I really did was because I knew you wanted me to play. I don't really remember if I expressed that to you or not, but I know it was on
No,
my
you
mind.
didn't.
Yeah.
I'm glad you didn't.
Yeah, see? Pressure.
Yeah, we would have had a conversation about, hey, son, if this is what you want to do, I'm gonna support you. But that would have been after I'd have had 3 hours of conversation on why would you want to quit now? See,
Yeah, that
real
yeah, that
fathers having real conversations.
yeah.
But yeah, no, you didn't share that with me. So then that's a good question. So what made you, beside, thinking about, us having that conversation, what made you decide to go ahead and ultimately play?
Because I already knew that you put like a lot of passion into football and like passion into me playing. So I kind of just made a executive decision. I was like, I'm just gonna play. Just just do it for my dad. Like, don't do it for me. Even though the whole summer I didn't practice one thing of football. This was when I was going into my soccer phase. I was playing
Yeah.
nothing but soccer, practicing soccer. Um, but yeah, I ultimately went back to school after coming home for the summer. It's like I'm just gonna play.
Yeah, folks, he didn't tell me that. But so that's interesting, right? Because your junior year, you worked out like crazy during the summer.
Yeah, yeah. Like we were. It was me and my best friend, and every single day in the summer, I think I was home for like 2 or 3 months. We would wake up at like 7 a.m. and go to our high school and work out, lift weights, and then we would pack our own lunch so we didn't have to leave. So when the high school people have lunch, we would have lunch. So we eat our lunch and then take a little break, hang out with our old coaches, and then say it's around 3:34, we would go outside and do field work until it got dark, until we couldn't see anymore. And then we'd go home, go to sleep, wake up, and do the same thing the next day. So it was like a full-time job, just working out and just doing football stuff. So that was fun. That was interesting.
Okay. All right. So then you go and you play your junior year. And then, so what was different about that senior year that you decided, hey, I don't want to play anymore?
I don't know. I just didn't feel as enthused. I didn't feel the passion, and I just felt like I didn't want to disrespect the game or anybody else just because I didn't feel like all into it. And I mean, it's a sport, so if I wasn't all into it, then I just wasn't gonna play. That was my thinking.
Okay. All right. Then he started thinking about, uh-oh, I got to go home and tell somebody else this.
Yeah, and then I was like contemplating, and I was like, man, I don't want to play, but I'm not gonna say anything. I'm just like, I'm gonna just wait it out for the summer and just don't even think about football. Just get away from football, period, and do something else. And that's what I did. And then when I got back to school, I was really just like, I'm gonna play and just go.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I had no idea that you was having those thoughts. But
Yeah,
so that's interesting, right? Um,
yeah,
how many sons are out there in that same predicament, that same boat, right? And they feel that pressure. And I would have supported whatever you want to do, but we would have had a conversation to think through it and all this type of stuff. But we would have supported anything that you ultimately want to do. But it goes to the main point. Your son feels that pressure, even if you don't say anything. They know it. So um, 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 it becomes the father and to try to help their son think into that or think through that if that comes to them.
yeah. And it's crazy because actually, my senior year, I think I had the most fun. I mean, I had fun. Like the other years were fun, but I think my senior year was the most fun that I've had.
Okay. All right. All right. So fathers, just remember that. Whether it's sports or something else, right? We do expect our sons to be better than we are. We just have to remember that we can't put too much pressure on them. We have to remember that they don't have the years of experience that we have. So we have to help them through making those type decisions and thinking through things. So you ready to go to number two?
Let's do it.
All right. So number two is being overly critical. Now, this is a major one, right? Since we want our sons to do better than we did and avoid our mistakes, it can lead us to also being overly critical. Now, I don't think I was overly critical of my son, but he'll be able to tell you that here shortly, right? Again, we don't script this message in terms of, well, you can't say this or you can't say that, right? It's whatever is natural. I want that to come out, and so just know that we're having real conversations, right? We look for opportunities where we can coach our sons up and offer advice. We have to do that, right? However, many times it just ends up making our sons feel like they aren't good enough. Sometimes it's because we put the pressure on them, but sometimes they just feel like that, right? Even compliments can be accomplished by criticism, right? Here's an example. You made a great play out there at second. Next time, throw to first and complete the double play. See, we want to be able to teach our sons valuable lessons like this, but it's important to evaluate how many of your compliments also include an opportunity for growth. See, the result is the son never feels like he's good enough. What do you think about that, Patrick?
Yeah, I'm kind of scared to even say this, but well, yeah, most time I don't feel like I'm good enough, and it goes back to the first point is that I start to feel the pressure, like I better perform so you don't sound like a liar to whether it's me, the family, or other people. Like, but just from that, it doesn't bring me down or anything, and it's not a bad thing. But sometimes I have to question whether or not I'm doing things for me or am I following a different direction. So, but after I think that thought, I then tell myself, well, you better get your stuff together because you don't want to make other people look bad.
Yes. But so, even if, so did I, do you think that I put pressure on you and made you feel that, or was I overly critical and made you feel like you weren't good enough?
I think it's more of it was more indirect. Like it was more of me putting the pressure on myself, but seeing like what you expected, it's it's not as direct. It was more of like an indirect type of thing. That makes sense. Like it wasn't something that you said uh directly to me, but it was more of like the expectation. It was just there and I knew it. Um it was kind of just that. That's why I say it's indirect. It wasn't as direct. It was kind of an unknown
Okay.
or an unsaid thing.
Yeah. So fathers and sons, comment. Tell us, do you have that same type challenge? How do you handle it? Right? We don't know all the answers. We just know some of them. And but you may know some things that we don't know. So put it in the comments. Let us know what you think, what your thoughts are. If you've experienced that, how did you handle it? How did you overcome it? Sons, tell us. How do you handle that with your father, or how did you handle that situation with your father? That's what we want to know. Real fathers and sons having real conversations. That's why we're here, because we know that men don't always have these type conversations. They're afraid to have those conversations, those
And I
bonding
think
sessions with their sons.
and I think it comes back to that mental game of you and yourself. Like it's not like all this like pressure and stuff is fine, but especially this one is it comes back to do you have a strong mind or are you going to make yourself have that
Mhm.
strong mind? Because at a young age, these situations are going to come up and you might not know what to say, but are you going to be able to overcome them or are you just going to go into the shell? And I think that's the defining motive. Like this is what really happens. Even if you might not see it right now, but later on, those things are going to come back and you're going to have to face them.
Yeah, I think you're right, son. Those defining moments are what one make you as a growing young man, right? And the father may have a defining moment when he's trying to teach you something, right? May learn something about you, may discover something about himself as well, right? So yeah, I think you're right. It's not necessarily that the father's always putting that pressure on. It's you putting the pressure on yourself because you may know what the expectation is that you're going to achieve or go above and beyond.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that. I agree with that wholeheartedly. So, fathers, again, put it in the comments, put it in the chat. If you feel you want to be on this show, you want to talk about these real issues, put that in the chat as well. Let us know, and we will definitely invite you and your son to come on the show. We want to have those conversations with you and learn from your experiences. Right? Don't shy away from this. So, son, tell us, what do you like about us doing this show and the time we spend together here?
Yeah, I like it. It's some things you might not know about me, and some things I might not know about you, and I can hear it here, and just have people listen. And it's different because it's not just me and you in the house and behind closed doors. It's people are actually listening. So it's a it's an interesting aspect. It kind of makes you think a little bit deeper about the question, just because. I mean, just being fully transparent, you don't want to sound like an idiot, but but no, I like the dynamic, and it's really good. Actually like hanging out with you, so it's a really good dynamic. I like that.
Yeah, awesome. You heard that, folks. He says he likes hanging out with me. I love that.
Oh gosh.
So, thank you for that. See, hey, we learn something every day, right? That we may not know. It's always an interesting dynamic. So thanks for sharing that. So let's go to number 3. So I like number 3. It's a little bit different. Living through the son's achievements. Now, this is one that I know that I never tried to do, but we'll talk about this, right? It'll be the first time that some people admit this, right? Um, and that they're living through their son's achievements. But I will say, I loved watching my son win games, right? It's an exciting and fun feeling and experience. See, that feeling can get addicting, and the desire to experience more can become very emotional, right? You just love seeing your kid out there performing. Wow, is Patrick LaFleur on the catch? Wow, Patrick LaFleur running this route. Well, look at that block that he set so that guy can go and make that touchdown, right? All of a sudden, you get mad when it doesn't happen. Right? That happens, right? If our emotions are regulated by our son's achievements, or that is his team's, when we need to pull the reins back sometimes. Think about that. Let me say that again. If our emotions are regulated by our son's achievements or that of his teams, then we need to pull back the reins a little bit. Right. See, it's fine to enjoy the wins or to feel bummed with them during a loss, right? But we need to remember it's about them, not us. It's about them, not us. See, as dads, we need to be a source of encouragement and not one of pressure. Uh-oh. Now, I know that hit a whole lot of dads right upside the head. We need to be a source of encouragement and not one of pressure. Right? It doesn't mean, fathers, that you lower the standard for your son, because we're never going to do that. Right? It doesn't mean that you have to let him quit or give up and all that. No. We're not saying any of that. Right? You just have to make sure you say it in a positive and encouraging way. Right? And not the pressure. Right? Because the result is the son feels like the dad's love is based on his performance, based instead of based on who he is as a son. Do you agree with that, Patrick?
Yeah, I 100% agree. But I know I can't say I didn't really feel like um, your love was based on my performance. It was based on how much I practiced. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. Wow. Okay. I never said that.
No, I'm just joking. No, but this point I can't really relate to, or it was just that I just blocked it out, but I didn't feel that you based how you treated me or loved me on how I performed during sports. So I honestly can't really speak much about this point, but I have seen it happen though.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I'm glad that I didn't help it make you feel like that because definitely never was my intent. I never had illusions of you playing football and me thinking about, hey, that could have been me or anything like that. That was just not part of my thought process or thinking or anything like this. I was always happy when you won, and I was sad for you guys when you lost. But never looked at it as, oh man, you know, this is me, or could have been me, or my son could go and do this or that or the other. In fact, I remember one time you and I were having a conversation, and I kind of had to stop you during the conversation. This was when you were at um, Bacone College. You remember you went to Bacone right out of high school first, right? Before going to A&M Kingsville, and you were talking and you kept saying, well, we don't have this because we're Division II, or we don't have this because we're Division II, or whatever. And I was like, wait a minute, stop that. That's negative talk. I don't know if you remember that conversation or not, but I remember talking to you specifically around, quit talking about what you don't have because you're this, that, or the other. That's negative talk. You need to be talking in the affirmative and positive. Maybe you don't have something that some other school has or some other program have. That's okay. You got to work with what you have. I don't
Yeah,
know if you remember that conversation or not.
I don't remember that conversation, but I believe it probably did happen.
All right. And I thought when you kept saying that on the phone, in fact, it was two conversations we had, and I didn't say anything the first time. I just noted it. And then the second time when we had a conversation, you were saying the same thing. That's why I said, no, I got to stop this. And I thought he's getting around some people that are not big picture thinkers. They're not futuristic in their thought process. They're not positive in their thought process. They always talk in the negative about everything. And that's why they're looking at it as like I always say, from a loser's perspective versus a winner's perspective, right? Because no matter where you are, you're getting college paid for. That's a great situation, right?
Yeah,
Could everybody go to Alabama and play and have all these fancy things and all? Yeah, absolutely. But everybody's not going to go there, right? Because even if you went there and you didn't get in the game, you're not going to be happy there, right? So, awesome. All right, number 4. We're coming and getting close to rounding these out. But before we go to number 4, let me tell you the top 3 of the 5. I mean, the 3 that we've talked about. So, of the 5 things dads do that push their sons away. Number 1, they expect their sons to be better now. Right. Number 2, they're being overly critical. And number 3, they're living through their sons' achievements. Now, number 4 is being apathetic. See, many dads get wrapped up in the stress of jobs and their own ambition rather than investing the time and energy in their sons. See, it's the little choices that end up adding to a big deal. It's coming home and turning on the TV instead of catching up on his day and playing with him. Or it's staying at work one day after another, after another, after another, and missing opportunities to be with your son. Now, look, everybody enjoys their job and they want to do a great job and they want to do all this type of stuff. They may think they have all this responsibility and all that type of stuff. However, there's nothing to me more important than spending quality time with your children, your son, your daughter, whomever, going to their events, showing up at their school, bringing them McDonald's for lunch and eating with their class. Nothing to me is more important than all those things. Now, are you going to miss some things from time to time? Sure, absolutely, it happens. But if you're always missing, something's wrong. Dad, you have your priorities wrong, misaligned, misplaced. Because see, that child's going to be a child for a little bit, but that job is going to be there. And then here's what I should tell my employees, and then I'll shut up. But here's what I should tell my team. I never want to hear you say, I can't go to this or I can't be there because to my son's or my daughter's events because we have this meeting with a customer or have this thing to do for business. I says, I never want to hear you say that because this business is going to be here. And then I'd walk them through what's going to happen if they die on the job. So here's what the situation is going to be. Boom, you die. Boom, your wife, your significant other, your husband, they're going to call and say, hey, Cedrick, so-and-so is dead. And then I'm going to say, oh, man, I'm so sorry. We're going to talk good about you. I'm going to say, send me to the funeral. I'm going to send some flowers. I'm going to show up at the funeral. I'm going to go to repast. We're going to eat up all the food. We're going to laugh and talk and say, ha, 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 the person was a good person, da, 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 and all this other stuff. Then I'm going to go back to work the next day. And here's the first thing I'm going to do. I'm going to reach out to HR and I'm say, when can I fill that position? When can I add another body? When can I bring in a new person to fill that position? Not once has any manager ever said, any leader ever said, we're going to leave this position open in memory of so-and-so. You see, so that's not as important as you being at your child event, supporting your child, because they're going to remember when you're not there. And all the other parents are there. And you're not there consistently. Now, I'm not talking, you might have to miss one or two things every now and then. I get it. But not consistently. Work can't be your excuse. And it's an excuse. That's all I'm going to say. It's an excuse. So the result of being apathetic is the son feels like he doesn't matter to the dad. Patrick, what do you got to say about that? What do you think about that?
Again, I didn't really feel the impact of this. I know going back to the McDonald's thing, he used to always bring McDonald's to my elementary school, and everybody used to come like, your dad's so cool. Your dad's so cool. Because he used to bring everybody McDonald's. And that was awesome. I used to like when he come to our school and bring food like that. That was pretty cool. But also, I know I wanted to play video games, and I was really active in video games when I was younger, but you never wanted to play. I think we played like once.
We'll play more than once, but yeah, not a lot.
Yeah, not a lot. But that's one thing that I kind of wish we did a little bit more, but it's all good now. I forgive you.
Yeah, I couldn't get myself into playing those video games, and it just wasn't one of those things. I'd rather scratch a chalkboard than play those video games.
Oh my gosh.
But we did play a few times, and I whoop him up in football and stuff like that. But let him know I have some skills. But yeah, we did other stuff though. But I'll tell you what, folks, I'd show up at their events. I'd always show up at these events. It just was that important that I was there for those events, to see him play, to see him run track. And what other sport did you play? Basketball.
Basketball. Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah.
That's all I play.
Yeah. So it's just that important to me. Work was important, okay, but it was not more important.
Yeah, and I knew that he worked a lot. I knew that he traveled a lot too, and I knew he did a whole bunch of other stuff. But even with that, he was always there, so I never really thought it was an issue, even if it was an issue.
Yeah, it was just that important to me to be there. So I was very intentional with making sure that I was there. and making sure that it didn't seem that work was more important than what you were doing. Right. And I just believe fathers and sons should do that. So fathers, sons, put in comments. Tell me if you agree, you disagree. It's okay if you disagree. Let us know what you think. What your thoughts are around this. It's just, to me, it's just that important. So tell us what you think. We want to hear from you. Number 5, we're going to round this out. Number 5 of the 5 things fathers do that push their sons away: unresolved pain and anger. Woo-woo. See, as dads, we need to be a source of encouragement, not one of pressure. Right? See, let me, you want to say something?
No, go ahead. Do your thing.
I thought you would say something. I saw you were perked up, ready to go. So, whatever is true of us below the surface will eventually work its way out. Ooh, I love this because I talk about this in training when I'm talking about gratitude and all of these things. And I tell people, what is in you will come out of you. So if good is in you, if positive is in you, guess what? It's going to come out of you in what you say, in your actions, right? But if bad is in you, guess what? If negative thoughts and things are in you, guess what? It's going to come out in what you say, in your actions, in what you do, right? See, unresolved wounds have a way of coming out in distorted thinking, insecurity, fits of anger, and in many cases, abuse, right? See, the dad creates an environment of fear and instability. The dad can be viewed as someone who is unsafe. No, I don't think I was ever viewed as unsafe, but go ahead.
Everybody in your life will have a turn back moment. You will always have a moment in your life where the direction you're going, you have to make a decision to either keep going or to turn back. And the sad thing is the average person turns back. So if you're tired of starting over, stop quitting. That's dominance.
Yeah.
If your life sometimes feels like labor, you're doing it right. That's dominance. See, forgiveness is the fragment that the violet sheds on the heel that has crushed it. That's divine love. And because when you advance confidently in the direction of your own dreams and endeavor to live the life you have imagined, you will meet this with a success unexpected in common hours. But if you stay average, if you stay good, you will never get to where you're trying to get to.
Yeah. I love that. Look at you, man. I love that. You must go on ahead and preach. I'm going to pass the plate in a little bit.
I'm trying not to preach.
Awesome. I absolutely love that, son. That was awesome, folks. Let me tell you, having these type conversations, real conversations with real fathers and sons is important. And what Patrick just said is, if you're average, if you continue to be average, if you continue to be good and accept good, guess what? You're never going to get to that next level. But if you decide that you want to be great, you'll start doing the things that great people do. You'll stop accepting average and mediocre performance. You'll cross the line and you'll start doing great things in everything, not in something. Because see, the way you do one thing is the way you do them all. It's either you're all average or you're all good. It's never you great in this moment and average over here. It just doesn't happen that way, folks. You're great, if you're great, you're great in everything that you do. Playing marbles, underwater basket weaving, sweeping the street, whatever it is. If you're great in all things, right? So I want to thank you guys for showing up today. Put comments put your comments in. Let us know what you think. Let us know if there's a topic that you'd want us to talk about. Let us know if there's something that we can do to help engaged fathers and sons, if we can invite someone to be here, that's right. Remember, Saturdays at 9 a.m. Central Time, every other Saturday. So today we're here. We won't be here the next Saturday, but we'll be here the following Saturday after that. Right? So, and look, real fathers having real conversations, known as Done by Some. Thank you guys very much for tuning in today. We appreciate you. We value you. We honor you, and we respect you. Thank you, and have a good one.